In this bulletin, Christians in Iraq unable to celebrate communion. 1/4 of pastors suffer mental illness. And playing ping pong to fight slavery.
This is InFocus Christian News and Current Affairs.
Welcome to the program this week. It's great to have you with us. As always, we're joined by Danielle Sinnott. How are you, Danielle?
I'm feeling fantastic. Jared, how are you?
I'm also fantastic. Fantastically fine. But this week, we have a fantastic program.
We do.
Sue Rad is going to talk to us about the benefits of psyllium. Just between you and me, I'm not 100% sure what psyllium is.
Oh, I'll let Sue fill you in on that, Jared,
Okay.
but I'll give you a bit of a hint. It's to do with healthy bowels.
That's an important thing. The doc is also here talking about x-rays.
He is. No glowing in the dark this week, but definitely speaking about x-rays.
We hope we won't be glowing in the dark. And the mystery interview today, I'm not going to tell you what it is right now, but it's very exciting. But first, over to you for the news, Danielle.
Thanks, Jared. First up, we have Kent Kingston reporting from Solomon Islands.
Just a couple of weeks ago, a remote clinic on the island of Columbunga was badly in need of repair, but thanks to an enthusiastic team of Australians, things are now looking a whole lot better.
Through the Adopt a Clinic program, local churches in Australia and New Zealand are able to partner with clinics in rural and remote areas of the South Pacific to ensure they're kept up to scratch.
So it was actually pretty hectic. We're all starting to get a bit like, oh my goodness, I'm ready for Sabbath. But yeah, no, it was really good. We actually accomplished a lot. Sick and painting.
Thanks to the team from the Hillview Adventist Church in New South Wales, the clinic at Kukundu is now painted inside and out and has a covered walkway between buildings.
The results and the impact of the Adopt a Clinic has been enormous, has been amazing. Churches go there with their teams. They come back different people, but then on ground there's huge impact in the life of the community.
For the first time in 2,000 years, Christians in northern Iraq have not been able to celebrate communion. According to The Telegraph, Islamic State militants have taken over churches in the Nineveh region of northern Iraq and begun using them as offices. They have also replaced crosses on the outside of buildings with the militant group's black flag. Vicar of the only Anglican church in Iraq, Canon Andrew White, said the situation is so bad that every single Christian wants to leave. The conflict has already forced approximately 200,000 Christians from their homes in northern Iraq. A public school in California has allegedly removed all of the Christian books from their library, including books from Christian authors and publishers. According to Christian Post, Pacific Justice Institute has written to the Springs charter schools, urging them to rethink their decision or face further legal action. Among the books removed was The Hiding Place, a best-selling book by Corrie ten Boom, about how her Christian family hid Jews during the Holocaust. School Superintendent Kathleen Hermsmeyer claims that the school does not purchase sectarian educational materials and does not allow sectarian materials. However, she said if Christian publishers produce secular material, that will be allowed. The case is ongoing. Pastors are just as likely to suffer from mental illness as their members, according to a Lifeway research survey commissioned by Focus on the Family. 1/4 of the 1,000 Protestant pastors surveyed report personally struggling with a mental illness. What's more, 66% rarely or never mention mental health issues from the pulpit, and only 28% of church families are aware that churches have a list of mental health resources.
So many ministers depressed. We think that's a surprise, but they're ordinary people, and more than that, they're people who are helping other people, which is so draining. Emotional, mental issues, big issue. And our Adventist Health Department have actually voted recently that going forward, this will be a special area of emphasis.
Thousands of Christians around the world have attended prayer vigils for the release of an imprisoned Iranian-American pastor. Pastor Saeed Abedini was imprisoned for his work among house churches in Iran. The first vigil was held in Washington, D.C. and was led by famous evangelist Franklin Graham and Saeed's wife Nagmeh on September 25th. September 26 marked the second anniversary of Pastor Saeed's imprisonment. The Be Heard Project, who coordinated the events, report that more than 27 countries will take part. A similar event was held last year. Leaders of Christian denominations around the world are currently wrestling with the question of women's ordination. However, the president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church says members should look into what the Bible says about the topic for themselves. In a recent interview, Dr. Ted Wilson also asked members to pray for God's guidance as the church looks to establish an official position on the subject at its General Conference session in 2015. Earlier this year, biblical research committees of the Adventist Church's 13 administrative regions submitted their recommendations on women's ordination, with recommendations split. Despite the division, church leaders have clearly stated their willingness to accept the decision made by the worldwide church. Microsoft has come to the aid of World Vision Australia in its ongoing fight against global poverty. According to Christian Today, the tech giants will supply $4 million in software to the Christian Humanitarian Agency, allowing the organisation to cut its administration costs. The donation is the latest offering in Microsoft's ongoing support of Australian charities. Over the past 3 years, the tech group has contributed more than $120 million in software to not-for-profit organisations through its citizenship program. A major evangelistic series in Vanuatu has yielded impressive results, with more than 2,000 people baptised at the conclusion of the campaign. Crowds of up to 12,000 people gathered in Port Vila during the 3-week campaign, with many more tuning in to the series on free-to-air television, radio and online. Among those baptised were 18 low-risk prisoners who were allowed to take part in the baptism after following the series on Hope Channel. The Hope for Port Vila campaign was organised by the local mission of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. A reconciliation service was held during the revival meetings to welcome the Sorovango breakaway group back to the church. Prostitution and pornography, slavery and sexual exploitation. These are all heavy issues, but now Aussie blokes are joining the fight by playing ping pong. The first ping pong-a-thon was held in 2011 when 15 men came together and played table tennis for 24 hours straight. The event raised $10,000, which supported 2 organisations in Thailand that fight sex trafficking and exploitation. During October and November, there are 25 ping pong-a-thons scheduled around Australia. Organisers hope that in 2015 there will be international events as well. Well, that's the news for this week. How about that, Jared, playing ping pong for a great cause?
Seems like a great idea, Danielle. I know we play at work sometimes, get the paddles out at lunchtime.
We do.
But, 24 hours, I'm not sure if my arm could cope with that. But it is a good thing to get men involved in some of these issues that sometimes men contribute to. Yeah. And it raises awareness and it raises a lot of money, so it's a really good thing.
Yeah, and very inclusive.
That's right. We'll be right back after this break.
The media targets our girls with destructive messages. But is there an alternative? Yes, it's Gigi. Gigi is a great new magazine for teenage girls that uplifts good Christian values. Finally, a way to pass on our values in a way the teenage girls in our life will love. So give a subscription to a teenage girl you love today. Visit gigimagazine.com.au. That's gigimagazine.com.au.
Well, if you're a bit worried about glowing in the dark after too many X-rays or CT scans, the Doc has some answers for you. Welcome, Doc.
Hello, Danielle, and hi to all my friends out there. Love you all. I'll keep on telling you, and please keep on listening because we have some good advice, as usual, from the Harvard Health Letter, which comes from Boston University of Massachusetts, regarded as one of the best little bits of information every month for the general public. A lot of people are terrified that they have too many X-rays that it may lead to cancer. Now, these are X-rays, and I reckon that probably 90% of people listening have 1 or 2 or 10 or 20 or 30 of these things stuck up in their cupboard door shelf somewhere. So you can't see what it is. It happens to be my back. I fell and broke some ribs last year. So we have these things, and they are very, very useful, as we all know. However, everything comes with a penalty in life, as does too much X-radiation. Now, the majority of people don't know that if you're just walking outside or in our everyday life, we absorb 3.7 MSV, millisieverts. That's the unit in which they measure X-radiation. Now, lifetime exposure should not exceed 100 of these. So if you have
that's 3.7 per year.
So that's 0.01 MSV accumulates in the body after one chest X-ray. So
which is
the
pretty
exposure,
small.
Very, very small indeed. So they reckon that lifetime exposure from radiation ordered by the doctor or the radiologist can safely go up to 100, and that in fact equals about 10,000 chest X-rays or 25 CTs or CAT scans.
What about ultrasound, Doc?
Ultrasound's totally harmless. They are ultrasounds, that's sound, and these are X-ray, which is X-radiation. That's the harmful one, which can destroy the nucleus, and it can, with too much use, it can initiate cancer. We do see this happening. Some women who have huge numbers of mammograms, they'll eventually find the cancer caused by the X-ray. A lot of women don't know this, but it is possible. So and also babies should never ever be exposed to X-radiation because their bones, their bodies are just developing, they're brand new, and they're not used to this horrible foreign X-radiation, which may damage just one cell or 2 or 3 and cause absolutely dreadful repercussions.
And all sorts of things.
The take-home message is, if you have to have an X-ray or a CT, just ask the doctor, look, do I really have to have this? I'm a little bit worried about it. And the doctor may say, well, I'm just doing it as a precaution. Maybe you don't have to have it after all. Not knocking the doctor, but it's your body, got to look after it. And 100 for a lifetime, but we do get 3.7 per day for the sunshine.
All right.
So blame the sun. It's the sunshine.
Fantastic. And no glowing in the dark.
No glowing in the dark. No. Love you all. Be with you again one day.
Okay, guys, well, that's settled. No glowing in the dark. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.
Planning your future can be a daunting task. What you want to do, who you want to be, and the road ahead can often be unpredictable. No one really knows what the future holds. That's just part of what makes it all so amazing. And that's why a great education matters. Because it doesn't just help you get a great job, it helps you prepare for what life can throw at you and live a great life. Avondale, it's education designed for life.
Look, how would the Maharaja improve his intestinal health, help his blood cholesterol and also his blood sugar? Well, that's why we have Sue Rad, and she came from visiting the Maharaja. Tell us about it, Sue.
Hi, James. How are you doing
good
today?
To see you.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of actually having afternoon tea with a Maharaja and his Maharani, which is the wife.
And you spoke about a health ingredient.
We did, because they're
India.
very interested in India about using food as medicine. And, of course, we spoke about psyllium, which we're going to share some information today.
Okay, psyllium.
Psyllium husks.
Yes, okay.
Psyllium husks come from a little seed called Plantago ovata. And psyllium husks are simply just a powdery substance like this.
That's the outer husk, just like bran.
Of the seed, that's right. And it has a very neutral flavour, can't taste much. And you can buy them simply from your supermarket
This is a kind of a cheaper kind of
store.
form. That's the raw psyllium.
That's right. Otherwise, many people might know psyllium husks better through having bought Metamucil.
Yes, there it is.
Who knew? That's simply just psyllium with a bit of flavouring added and some sweetness, usually an artificial sweetener.
For a little bit of flavouring, it costs a little bit more, doesn't it?
It certainly does cost a lot more, so you could just grab this from your kitchen cupboard.
Okay. Now, tell us a little bit about how does it help the body? And
Well, there are many ways that psyllium can work to keep us well.
Yeah.
3 particular areas that have been studied are, first of all, regularity, and we'll look at these in turn, cholesterol and blood sugar.
Okay.
So when it comes to bowel function and regularity...
This amazes me. You wait till you hear this.
Psyllium can both help you prevent constipation and treat diarrhea.
I mean, it just doesn't sound right, does it? I mean, how does it do that?
Works both ways.
Yeah.
Well, when psyllium is in contact with water, so in the gut, in the intestines for digestive health, it swells to about 3 times its size. So basically it increases the volume or the contents of the bowel, and that stimulates the wall of the bowel to contract. So it propels the food forward, it pushes the food forward.
So it's kind of both binds things together and moves it along.
That's
there
right.
you go, folks. What about cholesterol? It helps cholesterol as well, does it?
Absolutely, and this is where it gets really exciting because, in fact, the FDA, the Food and Drug Authority in the US, some years ago approved a health claim on food labels for foods that are rich in viscous dietary fibre in terms of lowering the risk of heart disease.
Yes, that's the soluble fibre.
That's right, and psyllium is loaded in soluble fibre, as you'll see in a moment. So what it does is it traps something called bile acids in the bowel, and these are the building blocks, the starting block of cholesterol, which is made in your liver, and it sort of siphons them out through your motions.
And it also helps your blood sugar.
It does. It regulates blood sugar levels by reducing those spikes in your readings after you have a meal of carbohydrates. So at my clinic, for example, we use it like food is medicine. So any diet that's looking to lower your cholesterol should include sources of viscous dietary fibre, including psyllium.
Okay, look, sorry to rush you along, Sue, but I really want to get to the how do you use it part, because Sue's worked out how to make it tasty.
You can use it in so many ways, James. As simple as adding a teaspoon on your breakfast cereal, and it's good to start with a small amount, check your tolerance, and then gradually build up.
You do have to have fluids with it, don't you?
You absolutely do have to have fluids because, why don't you add a teaspoon to a glass of water? It will swell in those fluids, and that's another tip at home. Don't take spoonfuls and spoonfuls without much fluid, because it'll be a bit like concrete.
We did this one a while ago.
We did this 5 minutes ago just to show you
getting a little bit like jelly.
A teaspoonful gels it a little bit, but it's very, very drinkable. So you could actually have have a little sip of that. You could have, say, a few glasses per day.
This is the first time in my life. Now, my wife has this for her health, but to my...
So, and that's the best way to take it because you're spreading it out over the day, and it can help strip that cholesterol throughout the day.
It's kind of bland. It's a little bit like thick water.
It's very bland. You could add some honey to that. You could add a bit of lemon juice, or you could buy the commercial product where they've done that for you and pay a lot more.
You put it on yogurt as well.
You could stir it in. So...
so it's not... Okay, well, let's just toss a little bit in.
Toss a bit in.
We've used the teaspoon already, so apologies, folks. There it goes on the floor.
It will slightly thicken the yogurt, but it's still very, very palatable. But stir it right in. I wouldn't have it just as the powder. Just give it a good stir.
Give it a bit of a stir. Yep. Okay, then I'll try
You're having quite a lot of it there. But if you stir it in, it's very creamy, very smooth. You cannot taste it. It just thickens it.
Nice.
James, I love using it in the kitchen for its functional properties. I love the fact that it's got medicinal power, but it just does so many things in my kitchen. It thickens things up. Any sauces, sort of fruit sauces, or even any gravies and stews, if you want to thicken up something that looks a bit runny, just put a small amount of psyllium inside.
I'm going to steal this. What have you made?
I've made you my special strawberry and banana mousse.
With psyllium?
With psyllium. But don't tell anyone.
Okay.
It's a big secret.
Okay. Can
Have
I
a
try
taste.
it?
Absolutely.
Okay. Folks, if you want to improve your intestinal health or your cholesterol or improve your blood sugar, the Maharaja uses it. Sue Rad uses it, of course. She promotes it on www.surad.com. Look, go to the site, find out some recipes and ways you can make it taste nice.
Tell me what you think of the texture. So it's a mousse. Is it moussey? Absolutely.
Yes. It's just beautiful.
So why use other ingredients that don't add any value? Just add some psyllium.
And enjoy life.
And enjoy life and health.
Thanks very much. See you later.
Thousands of years ago, a series of ancient prophecies were disguised within a system of mysterious symbols. For centuries, these remarkable predictions have been sealed to the world until now. Check out our new Secrets of Prophecy online course today in 24 beautifully illustrated free studies at www.itiswrittenoceania.tv or call 1300 300 389 for your free copy today.
Hello again. Well, I'm here in the beautiful Solomon Islands with an enthusiastic group of young people. Speaking of which, I'd like to introduce you to Trevor and Helen Oliver. How are you guys?
Great. Really well, thanks.
Now, you guys are the coordinators of the Sonship Ministry, which has been operating for how many years in the Solomon Islands now?
10 years now. This is our 10th year.
How did that actually start, Trevor?
Oh, well, when we were youth leaders at Hillview Church, we wanted the youth to go on an exciting adventure for God, and so we decided to come here to the Western Solomon Islands.
But what I find interesting about that, Trevor, is that even though you started with a sort of short-term mission trip model, you really have a very full-time project on your hands now, which is the Medicine Ship project. So why are you still organising short-term mission trips for young people?
Well, sometimes we really ask that question, Ken, should we keep going? But every time we bring a group, we have such a wonderful time and they experience such an incredible experience themselves, we say, well, we must keep doing this.
Yeah. Now, Helen, for you, the Solomon Islands and the Western Solomons in particular is a very special place for you. You grew up here, isn't that right?
I did. I was born in Honiara and grew up at Kukundu for 13 years. I was here before I had to go home for school, high school.
And finally you managed to drag Trevor along, but he didn't like it, did he?
No, he hated his first trip. That took me 15 years of married life to bring him here.
Well, there you go. There's a message in persistence for all you married people out there. So we've been here doing a couple of things as a team. I've got my team T-shirt on as well, so I'm right into it. This is what you called embedded journalism, people. Embedded journalism. Right, a part of it. So obviously the Kukundu Clinic was a big part of what we were doing. What was that all about, Trevor?
Yeah, well, 10 years ago the first team adopted the clinic at Kukundu, and since then this is the third time that we've come back and rejuvenated it, painted it, added things to it. So this was just a continuation of the first team.
And this whole adopted clinic concept has really caught on, hasn't it? I mean, all across Australia now we have local churches that have adopted medical clinics in remote areas and in towns and cities, I guess, in Papua New Guinea and here in the Solomon Islands.
Yes, right across the Pacific, yes.
And it all started with you guys.
Yeah, and Hillview Church. Yeah, we had the vision and yeah, it's continued. It's great.
Awesome stuff. So apart from let's talk about the clinic renovations. What have we managed to accomplish there, Helen?
Well, amazing things, really. The first team that's been able to do the inside, the outside, put a covered walkway over, do some landscaping even. What else?
Plus a couple of beautiful murals that the ladies have painted.
That's the best.
They're just fabulous.
Best. The locals are just in awe of the artistic gifts these ladies have.
But most of the painting was a little more workmanlike, wasn't it? Just the old roller and brush special.
Yeah.
I've got to say it was a little bit easier because of the two teams that went before. They'd done a lot of the prep work, of course, so every time it gets easier and we can do it quicker.
Okay, now another important part of the trip, and I know there were people who came along this time really because they love doing this, is getting out to villages and churches and doing kids clubs. How did you see the success of that this time, Helen?
Just the same as every year. The kids and the local people just are in awe that we all spend so much money getting here just for them. You know, they just really appreciate it. So it's just another, a bonus in their life that they have met so many Australian people that care about them individually. To take time out and money to come and help them. Even if it's just a kids club, it's giving them a blessing to know that there's somebody else in the other part of the world that cares about them.
Yeah. Now, on a more personal level, both of you guys have been, struggling a bit with your health lately. I know you, Helen, had a bit of a scare where you didn't think you'd be able to actually come on this trip, but, thank God you're here. And I've had the misfortune of sleeping in the same house as Trevor and hearing him coughing away at night. So I know, you've got a few struggles there. Does this sort of worry you? Do you, in terms of being able to come out here on a regular basis?
Of course, everybody has a limit to the time they can spend out here. But our philosophy is if God gives us strength, we'll keep coming. And when he doesn't want us anymore, well, that strength will stop. But it's amazing that every day you get up and God gives you the ability to keep going. So we praise him and we'll continue to do so.
Yeah. Well, and something else you were saying to me just before, like a couple of days ago, Trevor, is that medical services and health services in the Solomon Islands are actually really improving, and you're actually wondering if the Medicineship project is really, is there any sense in it going forward? What do you see for the future of the Medicineship project in particular?
Yeah, I think we have to adapt to the times, and certainly there are more small clinics being established in more remote places, and our service might change from being actual medical service to supporting the little clinics that are now emerging. And Kakundu itself is being upgraded as a regional hospital with doctors and extra nurses coming. So our role might be to transport patients, bring people to those services instead of taking the service to them. So
it's a sort of a marine ambulance service, is that what you're talking about?
That's very much so, and even the island of Columbungara has got a road going around it that's almost complete, so therefore a land ambulance may be able to do the job that we've had to do by boats. Yeah. So we've got to be willing to adapt, to grow and to expand with the facilities.
Mm. I know the team that has travelled this time has really seen evidence of God's leading. Are there any particular incidents either during this trip or generally that have really jumped out?
Look, just first of all, getting here, we always have to provide so much equipment, and this time the ships were all running late. Our crate actually arrived with all our goods on the very day that the team arrived. And we were grateful to God that happened. If it hadn't have arrived, we wouldn't have had any equipment to do any jobs at all. So those sort of things we take for granted back home, but out here we really see God's hand because he makes sure everything comes when we need it.
Hey, God bless you two so much. Your ministry is inspirational, to me personally, as someone who goes to the same church as you. And I know that a lot of our viewers, I really hope you've been inspired by the story and by what's been accomplished just by this one short mission trip and by the years of service that these guys have given. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. It's been great having you on the trip.
Yeah.
Planning your future can be a daunting task. What you want to do, who you want to be, and the road ahead can often be unpredictable. No one really knows what the future holds. Avondale. It's education designed for life.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed this week's program.
Don't forget you can find this episode or any of the previous shows that you may have missed on our website, record.net.au.
That's right, and just so we don't get lonely, send us a letter, letters@infocus.org.au.
We'd love to hear from you. That's all we have time for this week, but until next week, stay safe.
And God bless.